Hi everyone, welcome to devlog number 11. This was a physics update version. Wanted to improve the handling and the overall feel of the bikes. As always, if you do like these videos, please consider liking and subscribing, it really helps me out. So first off, I wanted to make sure the turning felt great. I reworked a lot of the mass distribution across the bike, making sure the wheels and the chassis are of a relative weight. I worked out an optimum wheelbase length for each bike to make sure they can turn correctly but also maintain stability in the corners. This actually took a while to figure out because although the wheelbase seems quite obvious, the capsule collider that was the actual collision detector for the entire bike actually had a huge role in how it handled. I wasn't aware at the time, but the collider actually determines the weight distribution of the entire bike and how all of the child wheel colliders react. This took ages to figure out as I was constantly moving wheel colliders around, making them wider, making them shorter, but I couldn't work it out. But then I moved the collider and it all changed. So all of the bikes, irrespective of their size and wheelbase, now have the same collider, just to make sure the weight distribution is the same on each bikes, and also to make sure the collision detection from weapons is also accurate across bikes too. I don't want to give one bike more of an advantage over the other. A major part of this update was also the traction and grip values of the wheels. At the moment the tyres were a bit too grippy, couldn't really oversteer, it was just always understeering because you would never lose rear traction. However, I wanted this to be a bit more slippy, a bit less grip. So if you have had too much power, you could oversteer into a corner. This really improved turning speeds, and the bike could react changes in direction a lot easier. It also implemented a better downforce model. So currently downforce was put on any wheel which was not on the ground. This was to stop wheeling and stoppies and weird behaviour that I would find at the start. A lot of this physics was built and created at the very start when I was quite new to game development. So a lot of these physics were very new and basic and a bit board jobby. However, now I want to make sure the bikes could jump, be in the air, and for any air time to be realistic. As a result, a lot of the jumps are a lot more fun and a lot more believable. Whilst on the ground, downforce will be applied to the bike relative to the player's speed. This applied downforce made fast cornering really easy and a lot more fun too. Because of these downforce changes, I wanted to see if I could drive upside down. And while technically you can do loop-de-loops, there is a slight limitation though with Unity's wheel colliders. So when instantiated, the wheel colliders like to have a base or reset rotation, which is dependent on where the wheel collider is instantiated. By default, this is at 0 because you're on the ground. Any rotation that this wheel collider has will be relative to this base rotation. However, if it's instantiated upside down, the base rotation is actually at an offset of 180, which enables it to then angle relative to that degree. If you do a loop-de-loop, this flips mid-loop-de-loop. So as I've got a two-wheeled bike going up a loop-de-loop, the first will have wanted to flip, whereas the rear of the bike would have not wanted to flip, and this causes some really strange behaviour. Unfortunately, I couldn't rectify this issue though. I tried things like using hinge joints or flipping one of the wheels 180 in mid-air. This had limited results, but again, sometimes you would just fly off into space. Not ideal. So I decided to leave it. The physics felt really good at this point, and I wasn't too worried about not having loop-de-loops. If I really wanted this later on, future Josh would do it. So for the developments then, so I added one new tyre and 2 rims. I also added the ability to have tyre rim combos, so you can mix and match your rims with your tyres, and the rims will also glow the colour that you select in the delivery controller too. You can now actually reverse. I've also made a test scene which I can use to test various physics stuff. I improved the visuals of incendiary darts. I made a player livery for the new bike Phoenix that was released last version. I've added some additions to spectator mode. This is like an F1 stat style readout where you can look at how well they're doing during a race or a session. That was a bit of a personal thing that I wanted because I just like F1. And I also changed how the Helix rockets work as well. So this is something I want to do from the very start. The Helix rockets are actually based upon the game that this game was inspired by Firebugs. I wanted a bit of an homage to that game. Instead of firing straight ahead with no gravity affecting it, it will lock to the track's terrain and follow it until it hits something at 90 degrees or hits another player. This is probably my favourite thing that I did during this version because the rockets are now really good fun to play and the visuals are a vast improvement over what I had previously. I also learned a lot about the parkour system too, so a lot of dynamics and motion based stuff. So yeah, together with the last visual update, I think these two versions have really kind of improved where Phaseshift is going in terms of both how the game feels and how the physics are, but how the aesthetics are as well. Hopefully I've made a kind of a new benchmark for the game. So a relatively short one for this version. Kind of didn't want to talk your ear off about physics and stuff because it's maybe not the most interesting topic to talk about. But prove me wrong, if you're interested, hit me up in the comments, I'll make some kind of special physics episode. Anyway, I hope this is informative, I hope you had fun. If you liked this, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next devlog.